President Obama has been asked many times, most notably in a Google Hangout, and I should say many times with some note of clarification, not often by the mainstream press. Lee Dorn and another conservative blogger asked him about it during that Google Plus Hangout, and he refuses to answer the simple question of, do you believe you have the authority to kill a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil without a trial? So we're not talking about a situation where we have an execution after a trial. We're not talking about a situation where the cops are in the middle of a shootout. That happens all the time. We're talking about the executive branch's authority to go and put a gun to somebody's head and pull the trigger, or fly a drone over them and drop a bomb on them without any trial or attempt to actually detain him. Okay? So this appears to be the most unconstitutional thing you can imagine. Now, when John Brennan was asked about it in his hearings to become the head of the CIA, he also refused to answer the question. He would constantly give non-responsive answers to it, saying, well, we haven't done it yet. Oh, well, are you not merciful? And President Obama said the same thing in that Google Hangout. So that brings us to Eric Holder. So Eric Holder is finally going to respond to a letter sent by Senator Rand Paul, who asked him that same simple question. Can you execute a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil without a trial? Attorney General Holder's answer, yes. Quote, it is possible, I suppose, to imagine an extraordinary circumstance in which it would be necessary and appropriate under the Constitution and applicable laws of the United States for President to authorize the military to use lethal force within the territory of the United States. So yes, we can bring in the military and use lethal force against you, and there will be no due process. If I say you're a terrorist, then you're a terrorist and you will be executed. Now, is there any check on that? Will the legislative body check it? No. Will the judicial body check it? No. It's only the executive branch that gets to decide that you're a terrorist. Now, you hope they're doing the right categorization, but are you absolutely sure? And maybe some Americans are comfortable as long as the guy being called a terrorist has a Muslim name. What if he is a right-winger, part of a Tea Party group? And we said, no, he's very dangerous terrorist. What if he's a drug runner? He happens to be, you name a race, white, Latino, black, it doesn't matter. Well, those guys have been called terrorists in the past. What if he is a quote-unquote hacktivist and he hacked into a computer he shouldn't have hacked into? Well, those are being called terrorists now. Do we have the right to execute them without a trial? Eric Holder says yes, but he says, don't worry. I mean, it would be really extraordinary if we used it. Does that sound reassuring to you? So he says, quote, for example, the president could conceivably have no choice but to authorize the military to use such force, if necessary, to protect the homeland in circumstances like a catastrophic attack like the one suffered on December 7th, 1941 and September 11th of 2001. So that's Eric Holder doing his best Dick Cheney impression. 9/11, boo! But remember, after September 11th, we detained hundreds of Muslim Americans around New York City. And you know, it turns out that the great, overwhelming majority of them, of course, were perfectly innocent. What if instead of detaining them, Eric Holder's extraordinary circumstances happened again, and the president said, wow, look, we're at war. Look, they just attacked the World Trade Center or the Pentagon. We're at war. So I executed a bunch of Muslims and a couple of non-Muslims, and there was some collateral damage. But hey, you gave me the authority to do it. Oh, oops, they were all innocent. Sorry. That is not the kind of power that our president is supposed to have. We're supposed to be in a representative democracy, a liberal, limited democracy. We're not supposed to be in an authoritarian government where the executive branch can unilaterally execute its own citizens. Now, apparently, Democrats have forgotten about this because they're on Team Democrat, and that is our dear leader, Obama. If he says he can execute us, of course he can. Showing, unfortunately, what enormous hypocrites most of the Democratic politicians in this country are. If Bush had done this, their hair would be on fire. Bush did less. Bush talked about detaining U.S. citizens without a trial, not executing them, detaining them. And the Democrats had their hair on fire, as they should have. Now that it's their dear leader, their great leader, President Obama, no, Jake, you don't understand. No, look, you just have to trust Obama. He's a really serious guy. He wouldn't make a mistake. He is our dear leader. Well, here's one guy who's standing up to that, Senator Rand Paul. He said, Holder's refusal to rule out the possibility of drone strikes on American citizens and on American soil is more than frightening. It is an affront to the constitutional due process rights of all Americans. And he happens to be 100% right about that. And now he has launched a filibuster that, as we are live on the air here, has gone on for over 10 hours. And he says, I will speak until I can no longer speak. And to which I say, God bless. I don't care about Team Republican or Democrat. I care about what's right. So far, 8 senators have at least joined him in the conversation, including only one Democratic senator, that's Ron Wyden. Bernie Sanders, where are you? Elizabeth Warren, where are you? Comedian Al Franken, where are you? Sherrod Brown, good progressive otherwise, where are you? Where are all these so-called progressives in the Senate? Apparently, they're too busy bowing their heads. Thank God Rand Paul is fighting back.